Examining Report ID 2026.
Hey there, podcast fan. We truly appreciate you, and that's why we're excited to bring you this special message from our fantastic partner, HelloFresh. Now, let's talk about HelloFresh. It's not just a meal kit, it's a game changer for your daily routine. Kickstart a fresh fall routine with HelloFresh. They handle all your meal planning, shopping, delivering everything you need to cook up a tasty meal right at home. They do the hard part, and you get to take the credit. I mean, who doesn't love that? And speaking of options, HelloFresh gives you 40 recipes and over 100 add-on items to choose from every single week. It's like a culinary adventure right in your own kitchen. Now, let me tell you about my own personal experience with HelloFresh. It's been a game changer for me and my family. With our hectic schedules, it's hard to plan meals, but HelloFresh, it makes it effortless. The recipes are a hit with everyone, and I've been able to enjoy quality time in the kitchen with my loved ones and do this fantastic podcast. And here's the best part, you can get an exclusive offer just by being part of the Transform You family. Go to HelloFresh.com/50 Transform You and use code 50 Transform You for 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. That's HelloFresh.com/50 Transform You with code 50 Transform You. So, what are you waiting for? Make your fall cooking easier, tastier, and more fun with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Thanks for tuning in, and now back to our regular programming.
Yo, 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 yo. What's good? What's good, my people, my people, my people? I'm Marcus Hart, and this is the Urban News Journal. Independent, objective, and unafraid. We giving you live coverage tonight. As I've been telling you guys and warning you guys for a while now, these times I'm really working out. But so far, I think I pinned it down. I believe Mondays is going to be more of like an afternoon show. Is going to be a night show, and Fridays it's going to be a toss up. But regardless of the fact, no, let's get into it right away. I want to let you guys know ahead of time what we got going on. If you are in the viewership right now, do me a huge solid and like, subscribe, and comment, and share this particular live stream with someone you know who would enjoy it as much as you would. Okay, okay, okay. With that being said, let's talk about something. You see, Iran, they got 48 hours on the clock right now. And the next story we're going to talk about is the jobs report dropping down in 2 days, and nobody's ready for what it might say. You know, everybody's on edge. So 2 days for two things when it comes to DC, you know, giving us some information. Spider-Man, on the other hand, just broke box office history. He's in the record books. Who else but Spider-Man, right? And back at home in Milwaukee, yeah, your bus might not be running the same route next month. Hey, once again, I'm Marcus Hart. This is the Urban News Journal. We are live right now, and we are getting into all four of these before this hour is up. So let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And again, before we get moving, if you are watching this, and I know you might be, and if you are not subscribed to the Urban News Journal yet, that's a big no-no. Let's fix that right now. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications because I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you do not want to be catching these a day late, okay? Because the news cycle, it moves. It goes, baby. Round and round and round we go. Yes, yes, indeed. So, also, pull us up on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, you guys. We do have a Facebook page, the Urban News Journal. Just search us up there, and we are on X at Transform You Live or TUMN to be exact. So we are multi-streaming everywhere today. Okay, let's talk about Iran. Let's get into the stories. And hello to my friends out there once again. It's good to see you out there in the comment section section of all of this. And hey, man, I was thinking about something before we talk about Iran. I was thinking about something. So I had an opportunity today to go tour another studio that I'm actually going to be working out of. It's cool, man. I was so jealous and envious, very envious of like uh this this place. Even though again, I'm gonna be working for the people. They are good people, and I'm looking forward to what I can bring to the table. Because like it's always good when you can tap into what your true purpose is and what you're here born to do, and then you can go and share that with the rest of the world. I mean, I think that's so cool and so dope. But back to the news. First up, and first only. And this is the one that could change everything else we talk about today. What's happening between the United States and Iran? We've been following this story for a while now, for a long while now, since, I came up on the scene with my gangster lean, the live stream. Hey, you like the wordplay on that? I bet you do. I bet you do. Okay, but here we are. Here's where we are as of now. So Secretary of State Little Marco Rubio said yesterday, Tuesday, that there has been real progress in talks between Iran and Oman over the Strait of Hormuz. His words were progress, but not not final. We haven't went to the final quarter of this thing yet. We it seemed like we still a little bit of ways there. But he said, and I quote, he's hoping that a finality comes very shortly. He- you know, we got a lot of hope nowadays when it comes to the White House. I don't know what's going on, but all this hope being tossed around, and we're just hoping and we just wishing, aren't we all? We just hoping and wishing. We in our rocking chairs, we going back and forth, and little Marco telling us one thing, and President Trump telling us one thing. I'm just confused as much as you guys may be. And of course, that's the political diplomatic version when they say they're hoping for a finality to come. That's the diplomatic version of saying we're close, but we're not there yet. And I'm in the back seat saying, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Shout out to Ice Cube. And at the same time, and at the exact same time, President Trump is saying he's going to have more details on Iran in the next 48 hours. Man, that's just such a how 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 can you clock it like that? I mean, unless you put Iran on the clock. Like, are they on the same clock, or uh, somebody tell me, somebody help me out. If you're in the comment section right now, what is your thought about all this 48 hours talk? Okay, I heard of the next 48 hours. That was a famous show, and 48 hours. So now 48 hours from a president is not a throwaway phrase, and I'm hoping it is not. And for all of our sakes, let's hope that it's not. You see, that's either a deal about to be announced, or it's a warning shot before something worse comes. And let's knock on wood that the worst is not around the corner. And then Trump himself has used the word decapitation. Decapitation. Talking about giving Iran, quote, and I quote, every last chance before decapitation. And then said, quote unquote, we'll see what happens. Like this guy is so nonchalant about this situation. And I want you guys to just sit with that for a second. Just sit with that for a second and just think about that. We'll see what happens. What really? Really? Can we have some certainty and some surety before you go just talking and blabbling? Because these words are coming back empty nowadays when it comes to this situation particularly. Because I don't think people are sitting with it. Even if we had to sit with it, like I just instructed you guys just to sit with it for a second, people ain't sitting with this. You know, we are talking about the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important shipping choke points on planet Earth and all of planet Earth. A meaningful percentage of the world's oil moves through that strait. I keep on telling you guys this every stream. Every string that I jump on, I'm telling you guys, I'm yelling to you guys like, hey, the Strait of Hamas, the Strait of Hamas, it's important, and the oil moves through there. Do we not understand this? And again, if that gets disrupted, you don't just feel it in the headline. No, no, no. You're not gonna feel it in the headline. You are going to feel it at the pump, my friends, at the gas pump. Okay, and another thing that's going to happen for those who like to order off of Temu and all those other places, you're going to feel it with your shipping costs. Okay? And then the worst case scenario, you're going to feel it in your grocery bill 3 weeks later. Mm. So here's my read. And I'm going to keep giving you my read, every time this thing comes about, and if you're like me, I'm sick of covering this. I'm just waiting for it to be over with. But we got to keep covering it because there's a lot of high stakes in this, whether we believe it or not. It absolutely is. And I think what we are watching is a negotiation happening in public and in private at the same time. And you guys can push back on me in the chat in a minute too. See, little Marco, little Rubio, he's doing the quiet diplomatic track through Oman, while Trump, what's Trump doing? Anybody know? He's doing the loud talking. He's doing all the loud public pressure. He's tracking it with a countdown clock. And where is this countdown clock? Can we get a visual of what this countdown clock actually looks like? I mean, is it 48 hours to the T? Are we going up? Or are we going backwards? Okay. 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 But both of those can be true at once. That's actually how a lot of these situations get resolved. Soft hand, hard hand. Same administration. They one and the same. Okay. But here's what I want you to actually take away from this story. Not just the geopolitics of it all. This is a live example of how connected your life is to decisions made 7,000 miles away. Let that sink in. You didn't vote on the Strait of Hamas. You don't get a say in Rubio, little Marco Polo phone calls, not at all. But if the oil moves, guess what? Your life moves with it. That's the world we live in now, unfortunately. And I think we owe it to ourselves to actually understand it instead of just scrolling past it. Let that sink. All right. I want to hear from you guys if you are in the house tonight, the virtual house. I want to hear from you before we move on, because I know this is a topic people have real strong opinions about. So the chat is open up right now for you to drop what you want to say about this and where you land on this. Do you think this ends in a deal in the next 48 hours? Whatever that clock is. Where's that clock? Somebody show me where that damn clock is because I would like to see it. All right. So is it going to end in 48 hours or do you think this gets louder before it gets quieter? Give me your take. I'm going to read some of those. Whatever you want to drop, I'm here for it. If it's a question, if it's a comment, it doesn't matter. Drop it in the comment section or not. Either way, we'll move on. All right. Yeah. So as we look out into the bleachers, we got one comment saying that like they are so tired of this story. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. The story is, exhausting. Okay, it is. Keep those comments going. All right, and a lot of you guys, you honestly, you might be a little bit more optimistic than me. Some of you may be less optimistic. And that's exactly why we do this live instead of me just talking to a camera by myself. I'm talking to you guys. So, you can join in on this whole conversation whenever you want to. So let's shift gears because the next story is one that's going to hit your wallet directly, and it's coming in 48 hours too. 48 hours is very popular tonight. Okay. It is the popular theme of tonight. So 48 hours, different 40 hours, same week though. All in the same week. You get two 48 hours all in the same week. Isn't that special? So Friday morning, right? 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Bureau of Labor Statistics drops the July jobs report. And I need you to understand why this one actually matters more than you think. This actually matters the most out of everything we talk about politics. So here's the setup, right? In June, if we can go back into a time machine and check out what happened in June. The economy so-called added a week 57,000 jobs. 57,000. And that number disappointed almost everybody who watches this stuff for a living, especially people who don't like Trump anyways. So they're finding anything to bounce on. Now, economists are forecasting that July bounces back up to around 85,000 jobs added. Now that would be a true improvement, but an improvement off a weak number is still not the same thing as strong. It's not. Okay, no matter what they say. Okay, there's nothing strong about that. Uh-uh. And here's the part that I think gets buried a lot. Every single time one of these reports comes out, the headline number and your actual life are two different conversations all the time. Okay, they want to talk about the numbers, they want to split out the numbers, but the data shows wages are technically outpacing inflation right now. Okay. And on paper, that really sounds like good news, right? We all will think that oh yeah, people wages is finally catching up and blowing past inflation. But ask anybody in your family. In fact, do me a solid and ask yourself, does it feel like you're getting ahead? Does it feel like that money that they so-called saying that is getting put back in your pocket, is it really putting a dent in all of the carnage of the finances right now? Is it? Because the real story economists are flagging isn't inflation at all anymore. It's affordability. That's a word that comes up a lot nowadays. It's becoming a buzzword, affordability. And every political candidate that's out uh, for the race right now in the primaries, they are flagging that word around. Um, in fact, that's Democrats' favorite word, affordability. And so, what does that mean? Where does that lead us to? We're talking about the prices went up, right? And a lot of you don't know this, but they're not coming back down. Mm-mm. And even when your paycheck grows a little, you still find yourself measuring your grocery bill against a mental price tag from 3 or 4 years ago that just doesn't exist anymore, right? It doesn't exist anymore. Mm. You know, that's a huge disconnect. Inflation cooling doesn't even mean things got cheaper. It actually means things stopped getting more expensive as fast. And that's a big difference, right? That's a big difference. And it's like a two-edged sword in a way. We talk about how rent didn't go down because inflation is low. Rent ain't going down. Okay? I mean, you can beg your landlord all you want to, but that rent is due, Stu. Stu, the rent is due. And don't play that falling down the stairs stuff because the rent is due. All right? I mean, but in all seriousness, no. Um, the car note didn't go down. Think about that. The car note didn't go down. And I for one can attest to that because I'm having some real serious vehicle finance problems right now. So that car note ain't going nowhere either. Mm-mm. And guess what? Childcare. Childcare didn't go down either. So if you pay out of pocket for childcare and you look at that childcare bill, yeah, you didn't even lose a penny off of that. You know, it- it's about the same or it's easing in the direction of costing a little bit more. And there's a bigger picture hanging over all of this, and it's Trump's favorite word, tariffs. That's one of his favorite words, tariffs, right? So if the labor market stays soft and then tariff costs keep trickling down into the consumer prices at the same time, that puts the Federal Reserve in a genuinely hard spot, right? They are supposed to bring inflation down to 2%. But if they also see hiring slowing down, cutting rates and holding rates both come with real trade offs. And frankly, there's no clean answer here. And anybody who tells you there is one is selling you something that I don't want to buy and you shouldn't want to buy it either. Okay. Somebody is trying to sell you a bridge up in Brooklyn and telling you that they can bring it to the middle of nowhere, the middle of Wisconsin, rural Wisconsin. Uh-uh. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. And that's what they keep on doing to us. They keep on expecting us to just be zombies. But lucky for you, there's people like me who is willing to put them on Front Street and call them out. Okay? That's what I do for you. That's what I do for you. Every time I step on behind this microphone or behind a camera, I'm making sure that I'm looking out for you. Okay? And the only thing I ask, and I get to that in a second, what I want in return. So here's my actual advice. So here's a free one for you, okay? This not going to cost you anything. My advice heading into Friday, and I say this every time a report like this is coming, by the way. And it's don't panic off of one number. And then don't celebrate off of one number either. Don't do either one. Instead, watch the trend, not the headlines. 1 month up or down doesn't tell the whole story, but 3 months in a row does. Okay? Now we're talking. So when the August job reports come out, that's when we can really, kind of look back from July forward to when that August report comes out and say, okay, there's something I'm noticing here. There's something I'm noticing. Okay. And so when that time comes, just brace yourself for it. Whether or not, it's going to go in the worst case scenario direction. But either way, this is the exact this right here is the kind of story I break down every single stream. The stuff that sounds like Washington noise, but is actually your household budget. If that is at all valuable to you, and this is my ask right here, this is what I want in return, right? And this is your reminder, by the way. Subscribe to the Urban News Journal right now. Hit that bell. Go follow us on Facebook. Follow us on X at TUMN2 so you're not missing these when they go live. This channel is growing because of people like you sharing it, supporting it, holding it up, holding my arms up so they don't get too tired. You know, the whole Moses thing. We part in the sea, man. We part in the sea of politics. We going right down the middle, and we stand in the middle. Okay, so this channel is growing, and I can't thank you guys enough. So if a clip from today hits you right, send it to somebody. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Okay. Now let's lighten the mood for a second. Let's lighten the mood. We do this. This is the point in which we do this, where we, give you something a little bit lighter. But stay with me because even the pop culture stories today have something real underneath them. I'm going to get to that. So starting with Spider-Man Brand New Day. How many of you guys have seen it yet? Have you seen it yet? Tuesday was the first Marcus Value Day, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people stormed to the theaters to cash the $6 night. It used to be $5, now it's $6. Isn't that crazy? See how things just continue to go up. Before you know, it's going to be $7 night. Then it's going to be $8 night. It's going to keep. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to that. I miss the $5 days though. The $5 days was awesome, man. You could take a date, man, still have enough to buy some popcorn and some nachos and one nice big slushie. But man, these prices done went crazy. Okay, but anyways, I love Spider-Man Brand New Day. I for one, I love it. But tell me what you guys think of it too. And guess what? They just posted a $360 million domestic opening weekend. Woo! Let that number sit for a second because that is not just a good weekend. Reporting has that as the biggest opening weekend in box office history. Full stop. Full stop, man. In an era where everybody is saying or been saying direct, movies that are I can't even say the word. Theoretical. No, that's not the word either. But anyways, movies are dying. That's what they're saying. Movies that hit the theaters are dying. That's the best way I can say that without sounding crazy, sounding weird, because like, man, it's just some words I trip over sometimes. And it's not that I'm illiterate or anything like that. It's just the tongue doesn't allow me to just say it the right way. That's why we got water. Good water. All right, but anyways, people are streaming everything, and that's why people are just shocked that like a movie like this could perform so well. And because everybody's streaming things nowadays, nobody really needs to go to the theater anymore. But Spider-Man just proved that wrong in one weekend. There's still something special about going to the movies and catching in, a real good movie when it on opening night. I think there's something special in that. You get to be around people, sharing the laughs, sharing the cheers, like um, sharing the whole suspense that happens throughout the movies. I mean, it's a culture thing that I don't think is going to go away. And I think that tells us something bigger than just superhero movies, that they still work. It's something bigger than that that is telling us. And in fact, to me, it tells us people are still starving for a shared experience. And again, sitting in a dark room with strangers, all gasping at the same moments. You cannot replicate that on your couch. No, you can't. No matter how big your TV is. I don't care if you got the 70-inch, 75-inch, 85-inch QLED, Samsung, Sony, whatever you got. It don't matter. When you give people something worth showing up for, they still show up. Okay. And that's what it's all about. That's exactly what it's all about. Okay. Sharing experience, the human connection. Get out and smell some roses, people. Now, flip that story completely because the second entertainment story today is almost the opposite lesson, right? So, our dear beloved Ariana Grande, she's reportedly stepping back from the public eye after wrapping her Eternal Sunshine tour right on up, citing what's been described as endless, ongoing public scrutiny. I mean, they didn't drag that girl. That girl been dragged all year. Oh my goodness, all year she been dragged. I feel sorry for her, man. And I used to have like the biggest crush on her, but since then that's kind of like went away a bit. Um, I feel sorry for the girl, you know, but that's the cost you pay when you are in the public eye. I'm sure there's somebody right now telling, talking about me. Oh, this guy stutters. This guy, he trips over words. Uh, he got big teeth. I mean, but seriously though, man, unfortunately, like this has caused her to also drop out of a London stage production she was attached to. So she missing out on the bag, because it's just too much for her. And I want to be careful here myself, because this isn't a story to make jokes about, even though I do find a way to make light of things. But seriously, this one is one of the biggest pop stars on the planet. You know, Ariana Grande, big pop star. And she's at the top of her game commercially also. Choosing to step back because the scrutiny became unsustainable is crazy. That's worth actually sitting with. We live in a culture that demands access to people 24 hours a day. Every meal, every relationship, every outfit dissected by millions of strangers. And then we act surprised when the people living that life say, I need a breather. Okay. Yeah. And I know on the other side, I just said, that's the price you pay for being in the public, but you know, there's also just compassion for people too. People are still human at the end of the day. So here's the two-sided lesson from entertainment today. For one, people still crave connection badly enough to break box office records. They break the box office records. And that's showing up in person for a story. That's what that does. It breaks records. And at the exact same time, the people we are most connected to online are telling us that that same culture of constant access is breaking them down. Both of those are true. Both of those are us. So kudos to Tom Holland, who's having an amazing summer. And then, let's pray for Ariana Grande. Okay, let's send our healing energy out to her, and more positive energy for her to find on her journey. Now, I want your take on this one also. You know, so tell me, chat. When's the last time you actually went to a movie theater? And did Brand New Day pull you right back in? Or are you still couch and streaming person? Netflix and chill. Let's hear about it. I would like to know. Drop your comments. And if you happen to catch the replay of this, you playing it back, feel free to drop your comments. And if you want to reach out to me directly, more privately, you can always do that at press. That's PRESS at marcus-hart.com. That's heart spelled HART.com. And it's Marcus with a C, not a Q. Don't do me like that. So I love that, and I love to see those comments coming. And if you got something that's burning and you want to drop it, and I happen to see it, I'll circle back to it. Now, all right, let me drink some water first, because this one I want you guys to sit back on and really hear this one. Man, this next one. Hmm, hmm, mm. Yeah. Woo! Even myself. Oh man, this I didn't expect. Oh man. Oh man. I you know I'm gonna get into it. So we're going all the way from Hollywood all the way back to my home now because there's a story happening right here in Milwaukee that a lot of national outlets are not going to touch. So you ain't gonna see this in CNN. You're not gonna see it in Fox. You know, and it directly affects how you get to work next month. So without further ado, I want you to say hello to my little friend, my little friend, County Executive David Crowley, who is also a candidate, in the governor race. Right now, he's going through his primaries and hoping that he outpaces Franciscan Hong, the Democratic Socialist. So this is real next close to home for me, literally. So if you are in Milwaukee or anywhere in Wisconsin, I need you paying attention to this segment specifically because it connects two stories I don't think most people have put together yet. And as a side note, and for disclaimer and for transparency, in 2016, I ran for state assembly in the 17th district, and my opponent was Dave Crowley, DC, David DC Crowley, the guy we're about to talk about. Isn't that ironic, man? Isn't that like just crazy and insane? Wow. Of course he beat me and his career continued to go up, which landed him a county executive spot, and he's a governor hopeful. And with Monday, August 11th being 6 days from tonight, that's the 2026 Wisconsin fall primary. And I'm going to be straight with you guys. Primaries do not get the turnout they deserve whatsoever. And even when I went early voting, I didn't see a lot of people coming. People save their energy for the big general election in November and they skip the primary entirely. And then they wonder why the choices in November don't feel like they reflect what the community actually wants. You're bad, right? The primary is where that gets decided. So if there's a specific candidate you hoping will pull through, you need to go out and support them. So if you are registered in Wisconsin, 6 days out is exactly the right time to check your polling place and know who's on your ballot, not the night before. Okay, yeah, I mean it's so many of you guys. Oh my God, I I don't know what's happening in the tanker. Okay, what is really happening? Because look, man, you know you don't. I don't think you should have the right to complain if you're not going to participate. You gotta participate. That's the name of the game. You gotta participate. You gotta show up. You really gotta know what's happening when it comes to these politics, man. And voting, it's a right. Exercise it, but if you're gonna exercise it, make sure you are, up to speed with what's going on. So now that I got you locked in, and I didn't chastise you a little bit, let me give you some more sugar. Not literally, but here's the sugar. Here's the tea. Here's the part I want you locked in on. One of the names on the Democratic primary ballot for governor is David Crowley. I just mentioned that, right? The sitting Milwaukee County executive, my Milwaukee County executive. And he was running against Mandela Barnes before he dropped out, but he still is running against Francisca Hong, Title Rose, and Joel Brennan. Okay, so those the three that still in the race alongside Crowley. And Crowley isn't just any county executive asking for a promotion. He is right now, today, the man in charge of the Milwaukee County transit system. Also, the same system that's cutting your bus service. Did you know that? Did did you know that? So before 6 days from now, I think Milwaukee County deserves an actual look at how he's handled that job, not just his campaign talking points. But let me give him credit. Let me give him his flowers because a fair look means both sides, right? In 2023, Crowley cut a real deal with the Republican controlled state legislature to let Milwaukee County raise its own sales tax, nearly doubling it from 0.5% to just under 1%. Now, you may not know this, but that took real political capital. And he called it the only solution to a so let me put some quotes behind that. He called it the only solution to a fiscal cliff that had more than half of MCTS's bus routes on the chopping block at the time that he cut that deal. He cut the deal so he can get the check cut. All right. Now that's a real documented proactive move. Okay, and that's where I give him credit at. He, I'm not going to pretend that that didn't happen. Okay, we think we think that like that wasn't nothing, but it was something. That's a win. You were able to convince the Republican-controlled state's legislator to, let you do something. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And again, that's real documented. You know, and we're going to roll with that. But here's what the sales tax did not fix. Right? It's supposed to fix everything, right? That's. He said that's the only solution, quote unquote, the only solution. But even with that new revenue, Milwaukee County still needed $9 million in leftover one-time federal COVID relief money just to close a $14 million hole in the 2026 transit budget. And then MCTS is already projecting another $17 to $20 million of a shortfall for 2027. And of course, if we look at it for what it is, the sales tax brought time, but it did not solve the structural problem. And buying time, think about it. It's a very different thing than fixing it, right? Especially when you are asking voters to trust you with an entire state's budget next. Okay? The entire state don't need this buying time type of fixes. Okay, DC? I hope you hear me because man, you really need to think about some of the things that you have done in this county and then all the DC flunkies, okay? All of the flunkies that are, rallying behind him like we gotta choose him. He is the one trying to anoint this guy. All right, the same way you did Kamala Harris, right? This guy, he first of all, he dropped out of the race, and then all of a sudden he just magically just dropped back in, and then that led to I don't know how it led to Mandela Bar's dropping out. That's a whole nother story, and that's something that I'm gonna have to investigate and figure out like why did him re-entering had a domino effect with Mandela Bar's accident. Strange things. This is a weird time in politics, Wisconsin politics specifically. It's a weird time, and I cannot think of a time when Wisconsin was like this in my entire life, at least. I don't remember Wisconsin like having this crazy stuff, these crazy candidates. Like, so back to the topic is like, oh man, my blood pressure is rising right now. It is. Now, here's the part that I think is the real accountability story, and it's not an opinion. Okay. Now, you guys may think like I hate the guy. I don't. I don't hate the guy. I never said I hated the guy. No, I don't. Okay. The one time that I met him, he was pretty friendly. He was He was nice, and I don't know if that was for the cameras, but he didn't do. So I met him more than once, So we ran into each other a couple times. We actually got a chance to debate on a panel. So it was pretty cool, back in 2016 for that particular run. But anywho, so the accountability part of this thing, man. This is a county controllers, county controllers audit in his own public record for you to go see. You can go find this. If you think I'm lying, go down and find it. You can find it. It's out there. It ain't hard because I was able to find it with ease. So in June of 2025, right? That was just last year. Last year, some change. So Milwaukee County Transit System revealed a surprise $10 million deficit in the middle of the year. County supervisors said they were blindsided. Really? You were blind, so you just didn't expect it. Like, so it just hit you. Really? But here's the thing. It came out later through emails obtained by reporters that Milwaukee County Transit System's own leadership had planned to sit on the deficit and not tell the elected county board until the fall budget process. Hmm. And because of that, it only came out early because the hole got too big to hide quietly. Ain't no way in hell you was gonna hide that elephant. That elephant was right there, getting ready to walk on by, and somebody said, "Huh? What is that? What the heck is going on?" That's exactly what happened. Now fast forward, right? So let's fast forward to June of this year. June. hmm The Milwaukee County Comptroller released a full audit of MCTS, and what it found should stop you in your tracks. MCTS had been operating with almost no financial oversight. We're talking about millions of dollars in contracts were never reviewed or approved by the county board. And this is the number that got me, right? The oversight board that's supposed to be watching all of this, the MTS board, met only 17 times between 2014 and January of 2026. Oh my, what? Oh, I can nauseate. I am nauseated right now, man. 17 meetings over 12 years? Dude, that's it's almost that's little over one meeting a year. So you talking about like 1 or 2 meetings? If my somewhere around there for 12 years. And so now we're so surprised, right? And so all of a sudden we all got our pants down. Okay, what the heck? Like really? So that same audit even flagged possible violations of the state's open meetings law. Man, hold on a sec. What? Hold on. Hold on. You mean to tell me we breaking laws now? That's what we doing now. So we breaking law. So we just gonna break the law now, huh? So not only are we only gonna meet 1 or 2 times a year, if that, like no, you got me really thinking. Maybe they skipped a year. So because of that, along with everything else, they broke the law. They broke the law. 911, please. What is your emergency? We got crazy people who are in leadership positions just doing the most stupid stuff. That's the emergency. So let's be very precise and very direct about what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. The audit traced part of the muddled oversight structure back to a legal change in how MCTS was organized in 2014. And that was before Crowley ever took office in 2020 to his, the truth about it. So he did not invent that broken structure. But he ain't off the hook. You shouldn't let him off the hook either. I don't care if it happened before you took office in 2020. You still have been the county executive sitting on top of that structure for 5+ years. And you've been there for 5 years, man. 5 years and some change. And so that means you sit through the exact period the concealment happened. And the exact period the comptroller says oversight was almost non-existent. That's not somebody else's watch. That is yours, DC. That's to your credit, David Crowley. Okay? That's to your credit. You did that. Yeah, you did that. And I find it just very funny, man. I find it very funny how just everybody in Milwaukee County is just blinded by this. You know, how do we not know all of this? How come the news is not flagging this? Well, I tell you what, I'm flagging it. I'm absolutely flagging it. I'm on top of it. And I'm not gonna rest. I'm not gonna rest because it's people like this who will leave their own kid in the mall and then come back and say, "Oh, that where did my kid go? It wasn't my fault." Yes, it was. It happened under your watch, and that's how I feel right now. I don't appreciate people who are neglectful. Okay, and this is not 17 meetings. Really? So how many meetings did happen between 2020 all the way up to now? So essentially, you broke the law. You know, all of them should be locked up. Because that's taxpayer money. Okay. So here's my actual plain question for Milwaukee County voters right now. Now, this is where I'll talk to you guys directly. So heading into Monday, August 11th, if the system you personally ran let a transit agency hide an $11 million hole from your own elected representatives for 2 months, and then let a watchdog board meet 17 times in 12 years, is that the record you want to hand the keys to into the entire state of Wisconsin? I'm not telling you who to vote for. No, I'm not doing that. But I am telling you to actually read the audit before you vote for anybody. Can you do that? But man, he personally, DC ain't it. And Francisca Hong ain't it either. Hey, if you think she's any better, hey man, let's go back to that bridge in Brooklyn reference. I got a bridge in Brooklyn I want to sell you. If you think that this candidate, DC or Hong, is the one, they're not. They're not, man. Again, I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for, but I ain't trying to point no elbows. But yeah, man, not that guy. Uh-uh. He need to give us a real clear answer, right? He need to tell us what's up. So don't lose the thread, rather, on who actually pays for all of this. Think about who rides MCTSs. MCTS, Milwaukee County Transit System. Think about who rides the bus. It's not, generally speaking, the people with the loudest voice in the room downtown. It's people getting to second shift jobs. It's people getting to dialysis appointments. It's students getting to school without a family car. So when oversight breaks down at the top, it's not the people at the top who feels it first. I'm sure I'm sure David Crowley has no problem getting around. I'm sure he can get around anywhere he wants in the entire state of Wisconsin, for that matter. It's, if he's campaigning, yeah. But what about the old lady? What about the single mother? Okay, what what is we doing? So these type of people, they not the ones standing at the bus stop in February watching a route get cut because the money ran out. No excuse. No excuse, man. It's no excuse. And you know, why this really burns me so much, and why it really, really like, just deeply cuts me in a way that I can't describe, is because it was a couple years ago. In fact, when I was running, and even before I was running, I was participating in some advocacy, for MCTS to improve, and for them to not lose routes, and for them to get new buses. Like, I was, like, behind the scenes, really, really rooting, and to see like this happening, it's like, man, I got some survivor's guilt almost. Like, man, I should have never, like, backed away from advocating for MCTS, and really, kind of like getting into those rooms, because this is serious. This is serious. It's already bad enough. And me and my sister was just talking about this, about like how, you know, there's these jobs, these real good jobs, good paying jobs out in Germantown and other outskirts part of Milwaukee County that people can't even reach. They can't reach them because there's no way to get to them if you don't have a car. If you don't have a car, you are SOL. Okay? Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Oh man, this has been one. Mm. Woo. Now, I say this plainly because it's the whole reason I built this segment into the show. National headlines are important, but local decisions and the local officials who make them are the ones that touch your actual daily life the fastest and the hardest. So don't skip your own backyard. And for the good Lord, don't skip the audit either. All right. So last chat break before we close this thing on out. If you are in Milwaukee or Wisconsin watching this right now, drop where you are, tuning from. Tell me two things. Had you already made a plan to vote August 11th? And did you know about the MCTS audit before tonight? Did you know that DC, this guy right here, he was overseeing, you know, bunch of chaotic things that were unfolded before our very eyes, were underneath our very eyes, because we didn't know. A lot of people didn't know. Like, they thinking that everything's all good because they see the buses run back and forth every now and then. They think they got money, but there's no money. There's no money. Where's the money? Show me the money. If you could show me, like, man, whoo. I know. I want to know honestly, no judgment either. So I ain't gonna judge you either way. What you think about all of this. Um, and again, like always, I will acknowledge those comments. I will circle back to them before we are over with, or I'll read them post live stream. This has been crazy. I didn't expect for this show to go in that route, to go in that direction. Like, man, I I don't know, man. I just don't know. Okay, let's move him out the way because I'm already sick of him. I'm sick of that guy, with this new information, man. Mm. All right, let's bring this all the way home. Look at what we covered tonight. A 48-hour countdown in Iran that could move oil prices. A jobs report in 2 days that's going to get spun 100 different ways before you even read the actual numbers. A movie that broke box office history, and a pop star who had to step away from the spotlight to protect her peace. And a primary 6 days away from now that decides whether your neighbor's bus route survives. That's a lot, folks. That's the world we live in right now. Moving fast, loud, and honestly, a lot of it designed to make you feel like you have no control over any of it. But here's where I come in and I tell you, this is what I come back to every single time. And it's the same thing I tell you every stream. You are not powerless just because the headlines are big. You register to vote. You show up on August 11th. You watch your spin in the same week the jobs report drops instead of reacting to a headline. You check in on that person in your life who's carrying more than they are actually showing you. Because Ariana Grande stepping back from the spotlight is a reminder that even the people who look like they have it all are absolutely tired too. My faith is what keeps me steady when the news cycle feels like it's spinning out of control. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise on this show because that's who I am, on camera and off. Proverb tells us a man's steps are ordered by the Lord even when he doesn't understand his own path. You don't have to have Iran, the economy, and the Milwaukee Transit's budget all figured out tonight. You just have to take the next right step in front of you. Vote, budget wisely, check on your people, and trust that you are not walking through any of this alone. And if tonight is the first time that you are here with me and you caught me, let me point you somewhere else too. My main show is the Transform You Live show. It's deeper, it's more personal, it's faith-filled storytelling about coming back from the things that try to break you. This show right here, UNJ, Urban News Journal, UNJ, is where I break down what's happening in the world with you. That one is where I go inward. Go find it too. It'll add something that this show doesn't, and that's okay too. Now, before I let you go, one more ask from you. Subscribe to the Urban News Journal if you haven't already. That's the single biggest thing you can do to support this show. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on X, and if one thing I said tonight stuck with you, put it in the comments. I read every single one after we go off air. Now, once again, for those who don't know, I tell you, I'm Marcus Hart. Has been the Urban News Journal, live right here in Milwaukee County, in the heart of West Allis. I'll see you Friday. Be blessed and go take that next step. I'm out, people.